February 2nd is Groundhog Day, so that's what we're going to be celebrating this week in our theme of groundhogs and shadows. And today I thought it would be really fun to do a couple of crafts. We're going to introduce some games and some fun rhymes and songs. So firstly, I think the concept of Groundhog Day is a good concept to explain before you get into these things, obviously. And so the idea behind Groundhog's Day, and I'm sure you're aware of this, is the groundhog will pop his head out of his burrow, and it's always fun to discuss what the name of an animal's home is. So telling them, animals, or groundhogs specifically, live in burrows underneath the ground because they don't like cold. So they burrow underneath the ground and hibernate for the winter, and on February 2nd, they'll pop their head out of the hole, and if the sun is shining, there's a chance they'll see their shadow. And if they see their shadow scares them, and they run back into their hole, and then there's 6 more weeks of winter. If they don't see their shadow, if it's kind of a cloudy day, they're probably not going to see their shadow, and that means spring is on its way. So to start off with, I have this fun little paper bag puppet that we made. I'll be walking you through how to make it, but first I'm going to use him to help me introduce a little Groundhog Day rhyme. I'm a little groundhog, fat and brown, popping up above the ground. I sure hope my shadow doesn't show, 'cause if it does, there'll be more snow. So that's a fun little one. And I'll share one more with you before we go into how to make this fun looking guy. February 2nd is Groundhog Day. Will he see his shadow? And what will he say? If he says more cold, if he says more snow, to his hole he will quickly go. So for this craft, you'll need a brown paper bag, and you'll need a glue stick, and you'll also need some pre-cut pieces that you can use to make the groundhog. This is going to be teeth. I have some eyes and the pupils that'll go on the eyes, little pink nose. These are going to be the ears, the paws, and I have puffy little cheeks for the guy. And this is a great craft more geared towards, let's say, 4 or 5-year-olds, as opposed to another one that I'll be showing you that's for younger children. Now I'm going to tell you a little rhyme to go along with this surprise that I have here. Where, oh, where is Mr. Groundhog? Where, oh, where is Mr. Groundhog? Where, oh, where is Mr. Groundhog sleeping in his burrow? Shh, he's peeking out his hole now. Shh, he's peeking out his hole now. Shh, he's peeking out his hole now. What will he do now? Mr. Groundhog sees his shadow. Mr. Groundhog sees his shadow. Mr. Groundhog sees his shadow. 6 more weeks of winter. 'Cause he went back in. So I'll show you how to make this cute little groundhog now. You're going to need a cup of some sort. Styrofoam cups work really well. This is a cup that I had left over from a birthday party recently. You'll need a popsicle stick. I didn't have any popsicle sticks that you just buy for crafts, so I did have to eat a popsicle to get that. And then this is a little groundhog torso, just kind of cut out there. This isn't a tough craft. This is a fun one for probably even 2 or 3-year-olds, and they can just decorate however they want. Here, let's color him. The groundhog is actually going to be inside his cup. The cup is going to be the burrow of the groundhog. And here we will have pre-cut for the children a slit in the bottom where you can put the popsicle stick in. That will help pop the groundhog in and out. So now that he's glued on, the next step is just to put him through, popsicle stick through the bottom of the cup, the pre-cut slit there. And now you have the groundhog that will pop out of his burrow. The book I'm recommending this week is called Moon Bear's Shadow, and it is written and illustrated by Frank Ash. It's a cute story about a bear who tries to get rid of his shadow because he finds his shadow makes it hard for him to catch fish when he goes fishing, and obviously not knowing that you can't get away from his shadow, he tries all sorts of things to try and get away from it. Cute story introducing the concept. So this is a fun and interactive game that you can play with the children. There's a rhyme, and along with that rhyme, the children get to act out what is going on, and it gets them moving, it gets them running around, but it also gets them calm by the end of the game. So what happens is you'll start with everyone lying down on the ground as though they're sleeping or they're in their burrows, because they are all groundhogs at this point. And as you read the rhyme, they will follow along with what you're saying. So here is the rhyme. A shy little groundhog left his bed. He wiggled his nose and he shook his head. He looked to the left. He looked to the right. The day was clear and the sun was bright. He saw his shadow and ran in fright. And this is where they would all scurry around. He wasn't prepared for such a sight. Then back to his burrow he crept, crept, crept. And you'd encourage them to get down and crawl around on the floor at this point. And 6 more weeks he slept, slept, slept. It's just a fun little rhyme and little activity to do. And I will have the rhyme and all of the different poems and songs and things that I'm sharing with you up on the website. Another way to get everyone interacting and participate in a child-led game is to have everyone in the same area, maybe around in a circle, and everyone will take turns being the shadow of the person that's in the middle. So it's sort of like a follow the leader type of situation. And the song that you'll sing is this. See my shadow, move this way, do the things that I do, follow me, follow me. And each child will take a turn in the middle or in front of the group doing something, whether it's a little dance or waving their arms around, whatever they come up with, and everyone else gets to be their shadow and does what they do. So this is an activity that you can prepare for in advance, but it also could be a craft for older children. And what you need is a box that you can cut. As you can see, I cut both sides off that box. A shoebox is a great place to start because then you only have to do the cutting of one end out. And the other thing you'll need is a white piece of paper or some thin white fabric of some sort. So I have my paper on, and that's really all that there is to it. So it's a pretty easy project. The next part is the real fun part. It's the play part. And to do this, you may want something such as this little Tupperware type container to prop items on, and you'll see what I'm talking about just in a second. So now you'll notice that we have the lights dimmed in here, and I have a flashlight that we'll be using in our shadow box, and we're going to experiment with some different objects to see what shadows we see and if we can identify the objects that are in the shadow box by the shadows. Now the last thing that I'll share with you is a fun idea just for experimenting with shadows, sort of like a bit of a mini science experiment. If you set somewhere up in the area that you're playing in, a clean plain wall, or even if you want to hang a sheet or something, you don't really need to. If you just have a plain wall, that should be fine. And some sort of light source, whether it's a flashlight that you have propped up on a stool, or perhaps you have access to a projector or something that would shine light, that would allow the children to play in front of it and just experiment with their shadows, and encourage them to try things like go closer to the light source, closer to the wall, and see how that changes their shadow. What happens if they turn to the side? Does their shadow turn as well? That sort of thing. So get them to experiment, and they could probably have a lot of fun and even come up with their own games. I almost forgot to thank you for joining us and to remind you that we upload a new video every week with a new theme. For any of the information on the crafts that we did, the books we shared, lyrics to the songs, or words to the rhymes and poems, you can visit us on our website at playtodayonline.blogspot.ca. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share with any friends that you think might be interested. We'll see you next week. Bye.